Hey, cutie pies. I am Lanikia, and you're watching What Happens on the Soaps. This is the Days of Our Lives edition. All right, let's get right into it because this was a mess, and I was here for it, okay? So today is April the 20th, 2022, Wednesday. Okay, so Jennifer and Abigail are talking. They're all dressed up. I didn't like the dresses. I'm sorry, I didn't. I didn't like Jennifer's dress. I didn't like Abigail's dress. I didn't like Gwen's wedding dress. I think I might have liked Gwen's wedding dress if she had taken off the veil and put like those strings of hair, she had pulled them off. But I can't, I'm just saying that's how I felt about it. But anyways, okay, so they're talking and they're just like, oh my gosh, we gotta find I'm waiting to hear on the information that Ava's has because Trask has to approve for Ava to get immunity. So I'm hoping that she hurry up and does this uh before Gwen marries Xander and everything. And they're like, and she said, Chad is not there, and she said it doesn't have anything to do with Gwen. So then Gwen comes down, and they have to stop talking, and Gwen just tells them, "Oh, I finally have a family. I'm so happy you guys are here," and all that good stuff. And she says, "Where's Chad?" And she says, "Is Chad not being here after anything to do with me?" And Abigail says, "No, it has nothing to do with you." Um, so then we see Jake and Xander are actually at the wedding ceremony, and Xander is like, "Pops, Dad." He said, "No, like, stop calling me that." It was like, "No, don't call me that," or whatever. We're friends. Like that. That's just weird. Stop doing it. But then Xander gets a call from Maggie. He says, "Oh, it's Maggie. It might be about Sarah." And Jake and Jack, not Jake. Why am I calling this man Jack? Jake. But Jack just looks at him like, really? Because I'm like, you can't marry my daughter. And as soon as you get a call from Maggie, you are all into it. But Maggie just wanted to congratulate him. There hasn't been no change in Sarah, so he gonna go on through with this wedding because since he can't have Sarah, I guess he said, well, I'll just take Gwen. That's pretty much how this is going. I'm just gonna take Gwen. So then Bunny go is getting all that razzle dazzle with Justin, and he says, "Where are you going?" He said, "I'm officiating this wedding." She said, "Well, my friend is not gonna be there seeing her ex-husband get married, and I'm not gonna be there. I'm going there to support her. So come on, let's go." So they go, whatever. And Brady, whenever Justin gets there, Brady stops Justin and he says, "I need you to elongate this wedding because Chad is coming, but he needs a little bit more time to get here." And Justin was like, "All right." Or whatever. And so then Bunny and Nancy meet up, and she was like, "Oh, you look good. Where's your date? Did it not go well?" She said, "No, we had a good time on this date, but I'm a strong woman. I don't need a man to come to me. And we actually have a date tomorrow night, but I'm coming to this by myself." And she says, "Well, I know you're strong, but if you need a little support, I'm here for you, girl." And she was like, "Okay." So then we see okay, so Leo and Craig talk or whatever, and Craig is like, "Why aren't you dressed?" And he says, I don't want you seeing me all dressed up before the wedding and everything, but they're just happy to be together and happy this day is here." So Craig leaves, and then Leo is calling somebody. He was like, "Why won't you answer your phone?" Or whatever. So then, okay, so then, Chloe and Craig talk, and she just says, "Dad, I'm happy for you." And he was like, "I'm glad you finally came around." She ain't really came around, but yeah, I mean, he get married, so she just got to go deal with it. So then the wedding starts, and so the wedding is about to start because uh Craig and Xander are like, "What's taking so long? Let's get this wedding started." So Justin looked at Brady and he was like, "I don't know." And so Gwen talks to Jack and she says, "I'm so happy you're walking me down the aisle." She says, "I'm not used to being this happy." And he was like, "Get used to it." Okay, so then we see Abigail comes out and she walks down, and then Jack and Gwen walk down. And then after them, Chloe walks down the aisle. And then Leo come out, baby. Leo suit. It was cute. And he had on his little bridal hat, and he told the photographer, give me for all the way around, all the way around. And they said, Lord. And Justin said, I should have known you was gonna be a show. Or it was either Gwen or Justin, and I think it was Justin because he said, mm-hmm. And thanks for getting that prenup together so well fast. And Justin said, it was my pleasure. So anyways, Justin's trying to draw out the ceremony, and they say, he's like, if anybody has anything to say, you know how they get to the part, speak now or forever hold your peace. Well, wasn't nobody speaking here. He paused a long time, and then Nancy said, you know what, I have something to say. And Leo said, what you got to say? But Nancy just got up and said, Craig, we were together 30 years. We'll always be family no matter what. I don't care if we're divorced. I love you, and I just want your happiness. And Leo and Craig was like, thank you for that or whatever. And Leo was like, yes, thank you, even though it's my wedding day. Okay. And so Justin says, well, let's just talk about this in honor. So he goes down and says, Abigail, here is here to support Gwen. Jack is here to support his daughter. He had double duties because he's the best man, and he walked the bride down. He said, and so then Leo was like, so we gonna get everybody gonna get an introduction, and he says yes, and Justin was like, and Chloe looks great, and Brady is here, and Justin Leo said, you know what? I need a best man. Now that you speak of it, because Justin said the room didn't have anyone over there. Leah didn't have anyone. He said, now that you think of it, I do need a best man. So Brady, you my best man, okay? So just get together with your speech, and you gonna say something nice about us. I was like, oh my God. So then trying to prolong the wedding ceremony, he says, Justin says, let's marry Xander and Gwen first. And she says, oh no, we have to marry my friend first. So Leo, she was like, you're so gracious sharing this ceremony with us. Go ahead and marry Leo and Craig first. So I was like, okay. So, Justin looks at Brady like, I'm trying to stretch this out. Brady, you could have got up and had a few words or told everybody to have a few words. Help this man out. And so he was like, I'm trying to stretch this out, but I can't. So anyways, he says, before we do the official vows, let's do the unofficial vows. Craig, Leo, do you have something to say, Leo? And Leo said, well, I'm not one not to say something in front of a crowd. So Leo gave the speech. Now, it was a cute speech. Leo just talked about how much he loved Craig, and everything. And that was one of the reasons, he just loves him, and it's not about the money. Craig is a good man, and he's happy that he's in his life. So then Craig says, ditto. He said, what can I say to that? Because Leo did a really nice, pretty speech, and Craig said, what can I say to that but ditto? Say something, sir. They're trying to prolong this wedding. And so Justin says, okay. So he starts officiating the official vows, and he's like, I take thee to like it's going extra slow, but it don't matter because like he get to the last husband. I now pronounce you husband, and then here come Chad. Wait, hold, stop the wedding. This can't go on. And they said, Chad, what are you doing? And Chad said he can't marry him because he's already married. And Leo said, preposterous. What is this going on? And Craig said, what's going on? And so he says, he's married. Let me introduce you to, excuse me. Chad said, let me introduce you to Jackie Cox. And so here come Jackie come out. She's a drag queen, and she said, she had a show in New York, and Chad came up to her, and he chartered a private jet. Now Sonny was on the way to the wedding to have front row seats, but he got a call that came in from his office, so he had to go, a work call. So Jackie, who is also known as, hold on, let me get it, y'all. Let me get it. Y'all know I got these notes together. Oh, shoot, I'm confusing it with my Young and the Restless notes. Jackie is also known as Darius Rose um Darius Rose. And so oh, and so he says he was married to Leo. And because Leo's real name is Matthew Cooper, right? And so he says, I am Darius Rose Cooper because I married Leo. And they said, what? And he said, yeah, that prenup, it ain't even real because that's not his name. That's not his legal name or whatever. And so they say, what's going on? And so then Darius takes off all the drag, stuff, and he was like, I married him to get my green card, and Leo said, yes, this is true. But it wasn't like that. Like, we got married, it was just to help a friend out. And he said, but we haven't been, we don't mess around or anything and anymore. He said, now, yes, we did a few times at first. He said, but now I'm devoted to Craig. And Craig says, is this true? And Darius was like, yeah, this is true. And so Craig is just like, okay, so we can't get married. And he was like, so Justin was like, no, I can't marry y'all. But Craig still forgave him. And Chloe and then was like, he been lying to you. He's married and you can't even marry him. And Leo just told him, I was going to tell you. I promise I was going to tell you. I love you and it's not for money. And Chad said, I beg to differ. And Craig said, what does that mean? So then Darius says, I've been knowing about you since the medical convention. And Craig looks at Leo and he says, how he know all this? And he said, I told you, I am Leo's confidant. So yes, I knew all about you. And he said he came back home that night and he was just happy. And after a few martinis, he went to spilling about how, oh, I got me a rich one. He's a doctor. He's handsome. And I'm going to get that money or whatever. And Craig said, and he was like, you were a mark from the very beginning. And he was telling me all about it. And Craig is like, what? Because that's what Darius was saying. Craig was like, what? Is this true? And so Leo was like, listen, it did start off that way, but somewhere along the lines, I fell in love with you. And he said, you fell in love with me? When? When did you fall in love with me? And he couldn't even tell him. He said, I don't know. Maybe when we were in bed planning the wedding. Maybe it was when you defended me, your daughter. He couldn't even tell him when he fell in love with him. Now, I don't know if Leo loves him or not. I honestly don't know. But Craig hands Leo his marriage certificate because Darius handed it to him, and he hands Leo that marriage certificate and said, "I don't want to be with you," and he leaves. And so then Chloe goes after Craig, and he's in the suite, and and he said, she was like, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean for this to happen." She said, "Yeah, you didn't mean to embarrass me." And Craig was like, "You didn't mean to embarrass me in front of all these people." She said, "No, I just wanted to prove that Leo was lying to you." And so, he just goes into Chloe's arms and he just breaks down and start crying because he really did love Leo. And Leo was trying to get to Craig, and Brady says, no, you've done enough. You're not going to him. And then Nancy tells Bunny, I want to comfort Craig, but that's not my job anymore. She says, it's not. Oh, and Nancy also told them when she was, when she was making her little speech about being happy for them, that she had a date the next night or whatever. But she was like, that's not my job anymore. And Nancy just needs to focus on Clyde. Well, I don't know what's going to happen with that. And so then, um, so Justin goes up and he's talking to go. Okay, so Abigail gets a phone call and she has to leave, right? And she tells Chad, I gotta tell you about this, but I gotta take this phone call. And so Jennifer goes up to Chad and Jack and she says, there's something I have to tell y'all, because they say Abigail said a long time on that phone call, and they said it's something I have to tell y'all or whatever. But she couldn't get to tell him because here comes Gwen and Xander. And then Justin comes up and he says, well, that wedding didn't work out, but do y'all still want to get married? And Gwen is like, well, I don't see a reason why we shouldn't still get married. And Abigail said, oh, I beg to differ. And that's how the days of our lives went off, y'all. Ooh, these weddings are not going to go through, baby. It's good. So I will see you tomorrow for a new episode of Days of Our Lives. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.